Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Out of Debt with Lex. It's your girl Lex, and I'm back with a June debt update. I know it's been a minute. I wanted to start off this video by saying thank you so much for all the love on the video that I posted in January this year, where I just had that initial debt confession, starting my debt-free journey over, and I felt really down in the dumps. The amount of love and support in the comments and just kindness in the comments really meant so much to me, and I've really had a struggle with my mental health this year, and feeling like I'm just drowning in this debt has been like hanging on to me. You will see I have made some improvements. Me and my husband have made some improvements, but also we're still kind of drowning in debt. So obviously, there's still a lot of work to go. I'm going to be working hard to get out of this debt, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I just want to say thank you so much for all the people who subscribed and commented and said such nice things in my initial debt confession. I'm so excited to share the progress that has happened and also just like the pitfalls that we've experienced so far this year. So that being said, I did want to start off the video just kind of talking about some of the changes that have happened since January. So the first big change that has happened is we pulled both of our kids from daycare. Daycare was costing us about, I believe it was like 400 something a month, or 400 something a week. I want to say it was like 445 or something like that per week, which obviously per month that takes a huge chunk out of your paycheck. So being able to pull our kids from daycare has been huge. Saves literally over $1,000 a month, which is great. We also canceled our gym membership, which was about, I believe it was like $120 a month. I barely was using it. My husband was using it a little bit, but like, I don't know, it wasn't worth the $120 a month, that's for sure. So canceled that. We've also like looked really hard at finances and just kind of like compared things like car insurance switching over, just like little details. We've tried to make smarter decisions about who we're choosing to go with those things. But yeah, I just wanted to share that update as well, that on the budgeting side of things, there has been a lot of effort as well, even if the numbers don't always reflect it in all of this. So you'll notice that this is a different order of things than it was last time around, and it's just kind of been reordered. I changed the priorities a little bit based on just needing to be able to make our monthly payments properly. These loans are very high percentage loans, and that's why I wanted to pay them off first, because we were just paying ridiculous amounts of interest on these first three. So without further ado, let's get into it. Also, I'm sorry if there's shadows. It is like nighttime because my kids are sleeping, so bear with me. So first thing is the Uprova loan. That was a little over $1,000, and that was paid off earlier this year. So balance is at zero. Difference is minus $1,068. That is one of the first things we paid off this year. We paid it off with our tax refund. Next up is the Rise loan. That was for $1,800. That is also at zero. Both of these accounts have been closed now. They were both lines of credit, but no more. So $1,800 down as well. Next up is the CashNet loan. That one currently has a balance of $1,131.82. So let me get my calculator off to the side here. So that is a difference of $668.18. And that one I'm hoping to pay off sooner rather than later as well, because it is costing us a lot of money in general just to have it open. So hopefully we can get that paid off soon. Next up is Sean's Capital One. So it was at $518.43. It did go up a little bit. Not too crazy, but yeah, definitely a little bit. So it's at $628.88. Another big step that I forgot to mention in the intro that we took is I literally cut up all of our credit cards. All of them are destroyed, no longer accessible to us. And I did that today, actually. So I think the big problem that both my husband and I have is that we haven't built that muscle, that behavior to not use the credit cards past what we need to use them for. And so My first step is just cutting them up and hopefully making progress. I've noticed the cards that like I've misplaced or like put in a weird place, their balances keep going down. The ones that we've had access to keep going up. It's a logical it's just logic at this point, I feel like. So I cut them up. They're out of our reach. I've removed them from my Apple Wallet. Hopefully from now on, I guess, we can really start to change that behavior and relearn how to properly use credit cards in this family. So that was a big step today as well. So this one is plus. So that is plus 110.65. All right, next up is Citi. So it was a little over $1,000 at the beginning of this year. Currently, it is at 934.62. So it did go down a little bit. So it went down 67.86. Next up is Synchrony Bank. That's a credit card as well. Was at 1409.99, and it is currently at 1,060. Wow, that looks like two sixes. It's supposed to be a zero. And 36 cents. So it did go down quite a bit as well. Down $349.63. Next up is my car. My car is at the tail end of its loan. It has until I believe it's paid off in September of this year. So it's great. I've never had a car loan. This is my first car that I've bought myself. But I'm just loving seeing how much my balance keeps going down every month. It is so satisfying at the end of the loan to just see that balance continue to go down. So that being said, it was at about 3,400-ish, and it is currently at, let me see, it's currently at 1765 and 94 cents. So ton of improvement there. So satisfying. I just love to see it. And I haven't been paying any extra towards it. This car loan was back when, I don't know, like the interest rates weren't so high. So it's only like, I think 3% interest on the car. And at this point, it's at the end of the loan. I'm in no rush to really pay it off. But it is super satisfying just to see it continue to go down. And that is a difference of $16.80 and 48 cents. Next up is the Wells Fargo credit card. It was a little over 2,500. 2,500 is actually the limit on this card, so it was actually a little bit over the balance that I would prefer to keep it at, which is obviously much lower, but you know what I mean. It was over its limit. Currently, it is under its limit again. It is at 2,300. What does that say? $2,391.99. So it has gone down a little bit. And that is the difference of $160.93. Next up is Sean's Chase card. So you'll notice like the credit cards that we do not regularly like keep in our wallet, like Wells Fargo and Synchrony, those ones are slowly going down, slowly but surely. Whereas like cards like Sean's Capital One or the Chase card or like certain ones where the balance stays the same or goes up, those are the ones where we've had the physical card and we kept it in our wallet. So I'm very curious to see now that like today I've taken that step of cutting all of them up and we're like in this together, cutting it up, to see if these balances finally start to make a little bit more progress or start to just go down a little bit more. We will see. So for Sean's Chase, the balance is currently at 2,000. Did I write the wrong number? I think I did. No, I didn't. It just hasn't changed. Wow, that's surprising. 2,322 and 76 cents. So that is almost exactly the same number. That is a difference of 12 cents. Okay. Next up is the Upstart loan. I don't know if I talked about this in my debt confession or not. The Upstart loan came from a time where we were paying double rent and we just were in a bad place. And so that's where that kind of came from. But is slowly going down, which is good to see. Upstart is currently at $3,191.41. So a difference of $176.07. Next up is My Chase. And with My Chase, there is little to no difference right now. $3,966.72. So essentially the same number. And again, one that I kept inside my wallet and it stayed the same, actually went up a little bit. So again, hoping that cutting up these cards will really benefit us in the long run. Plus $8.86. Next up is the UW line of credit. No change on this one. And you might be thinking to yourself, okay, your method that you wanted to go with is debt. You might be thinking to yourself that the method that I wanted to go with is debt snowball. So why is this one so far down when it should really be way up here? I really thought about priorities here. The line of credit doesn't really charge much interest, nor does it cost me much per month. On the flip side of that, whenever I have paid this down in the past, it's immediately gone back up. Whenever my bank account goes negative, it auto pulls from this line of credit and refills it again. So that being said, I'm hoping by the point where I've paid off all of these different credit cards and we've hopefully really stayed disciplined throughout this time, that by the time we get to this line of credit, we can stay in a place where our bank account isn't constantly going over balance and we aren't constantly pulling from the line of credit. I really do think that if I put it higher up in my list, that it might just end up getting charged up again. And I'm trying to build that muscle memory before I get to that point. So that is why it is so far down low. Next up is the UW credit card, balance of $7,019. It actually went up just a little bit. And again, this is one of the cards that I cut up today. $7,128.11. So that is an additional $108.68. All right, next up, we've got my Capital One that was over its balance. Balance that it is supposed to have maximum is, I believe, $10,000, and it obviously was a little bit over that point at the time of my debt confession in January. So I was able to bring it down with some of my tax refund money, and then I've kind of just been leaving it alone since then. So that being said, the current balance is $8,990.88. And that is $1,796.69 less than it was at the beginning of the year. So that's pretty good. Next up is Discover. Discover was at about $9,500. Currently, it is actually a little bit higher, $9,690.34. That is an additional $192.34. Next up is the 401k loan. This loan was to cover an absolute emergency where we needed about $8,000. So slowly paying that off, so low down my list just because it is from my 401k. It pays interest back into my 401k, and in the long run, it would be ideal if I could just get the money back in there if I didn't have all of this debt. But with all the debt, it's just low on the priority list for me. So for the 401k, it was at about $7,700. It currently, the balance is at $65.46.46. So that's gone down quite a bit, actually. So that is a difference of $1,169.16. Next up is the credit consolidation loan. I got this. We had almost all of our credit cards paid off. We had 2 left, and I consolidated them into this loan. And when I did that, I didn't expect to get all this back in, which is why the behavior needs to change. But that is where that comes from in general. So it was at a little over $13,000. it currently, that is what it's at currently. So what was it at? Oh, this is not accurate. I'm so sorry. I am like so rusty at this stuff. I just did not write things right. So it was at $13,992.02. And it currently is at, and that number was what it is currently at, which is $13,072.80. So that is a difference of $920.22. Nice. Next up, we have Sean's car. I also messed up writing this one because, again, I am very rusty and it's been a minute. So bear with me. His car was at, looks like $21,588.44. And currently it is at $19,000, $681.61. So that has gone down quite a bit. Love to see it. So that is a difference of $1,906.83. His car, I believe it's supposed to get paid off at the end of 2026, December of 2026. Could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. With that being said, it is like starting to pay a lot more interest or a lot more principal every time we pay it. It's about $400 going to principal for each payment, which is really good compared to where it was at. So hopefully we can get this down. You might be wondering, like, why are you hanging on to this car or just sell the car? This is a negative interest car. Like, it is worth about $12,000. We currently owe about $19,000 on it. When we got the loan, it was about $28,000, so we never should have gotten this car to begin with. We learned our lesson. Negative interest, never knew about it. Now I do. That being said, this car is not the greatest. We've had to pay so much money, using so much of our money to fix it up and try to keep it running. So really, for me personally, and tell me in the comments if you think this is not a good decision, but for me personally, I want to pay it down to the point where, you know, it's worth what it's worth. So pay it down to $12,000 and then trade it in for a dependable, good car that works well. Bad decision, good decision. Let me know in the comments. Then student loans, there's just no difference. Haven't paid them. They are not due. They're currently in like forbearance or something like that. So now we are at the bottom. Of course, I would pay my student loans if we have the money to pay for them extra, but really I just want to keep going on this debt-free journey and get it together. That's what I want. So that being said, this is our previous debt balance. It was $123,515.34, and our current new balance is $111,731.39. So honestly, there's progress. Like, and you can kind of see throughout. Obviously, we had balances go up, but I feel like took action, cut up our cards. Let's hope that that helps correct our behavior. I'm really proud. Like, honestly, this whole first half of the year, I posted that video. There was such positive reaction, and still I felt so upset and just like down about like where we're at financially. But I actually added up these numbers yesterday, and I was shocked to see that like we have paid off what, $12,000 already ish this year, which honestly, it doesn't feel like it sometimes because it feels like we're still in the hole by a lot. But it's good to see that like there is progress and we're getting there. So leave a positive comment down below. I love to see them, and it makes me feel like so much less alone, just like there's hope in the world. I'm going to try to do these updates monthly. We'll see if it happens, but I found all my filming stuff since we moved, and I feel like I can actually do it again. So hopefully I'll be giving these updates monthly. These are the numbers as of June 1st. So hopefully I can give you one for July. Once July 1st hits, I'll grab all the numbers and then I'll film that. But hopefully you guys are proud that I made some progress. We've made some progress. But But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to follow along on my journey. I really want to kick this debt. I'm feeling a little bit down about it, but I also feel like a shred of hope. So I don't know. Just please be here with me through the journey and let's do this. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.